Looks like we are live, and I'm gonna share it too. And what we'll do, good morning, good morning, good evening, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody has had a great day, good day so far. We're going to rock and roll into this evening. We want to thank everybody for joining us. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in, everybody. We want to welcome y'all to the BPM Black Professional Men's General Body Meeting this evening, and we have a just a special evening kind of in store for everybody tonight. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. We thought that this would be a different take. I was watching one of the sports shows this morning on ESPN, and instead of it was on the first take, and usually they have what's his name, Big Mouth Stephen A. Smith, and his co-host, or I should say they're both co-hosts or whatever, but they had it, but and then they have the lady that's the young lady that's a moderator. Well, today they had all women, and they called it the Takeover. So they called it the ESPN Takeover. So we're kind of, I guess, following in their footsteps a little bit too this evening with the Black Professional Men. So don't be alarmed, fellas, if y'all see a couple of faces that you might not have seen on here before, but I'm quite sure you all have seen them before. So don't be too alarmed. Yes, they have been let in the room. So, but there's a method to the madness. So we want to welcome everybody. And we'll start off as we usually do. We're going to start off with a word of prayer, and then we're going to do our round table of introductions, having everybody kind of introduce themselves to tell us a little bit about just who you are really quickly, and then your affiliation with Black Professional Men. So we'll start off with the word of prayer really quickly, and then we will move forward with our agenda. Is that all right with everybody? Heavenly Father, it's once again we come before you to say thank you. We thank you for allowing us to be able to come together once again at this general body meeting for Black professional men. We ask that you bring your presence into the meeting. We ask that you have this meeting accomplish what it will accomplish. Let us as individuals and collectively come together to be able to discuss and talk about those issues that we deal with as a community, and then us as an organization, to ensure the future of the African American male. We ask that you be with every family that is represented here tonight. We ask that you cover them, Heavenly Father. Please let our agenda go as you will have it to go. Let it flow as you will have it to go. We do all of these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Now we're going to do a little bit. It's going to be a little different tonight. Our kind of flow and our agenda tonight. So I hope everybody is okay with that. We're going to start with the live stream launch is already open. We had the opening prayer. So now I want to have what we'll do is we'll go around and have everybody kind of introduce themselves and just tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we will move into the active part of the program. So I'm looking at the screen, so I'm going to go to my left and to the right. I'll say the person's name. I'm going to start to my left with the ladies, and that would be Miss Hanita. You are to my left, which might be pointing to the opposite direction, but but that would be you. So let's start with you, okay?
Okay, first, well, hello, family. Hello, BPM family. I am Hannah Thurgant, and I specialize in all things human resources for career professionals as well as for companies that are also looking to hire. So I am your HR, your favorite HR team. I'm also the president of the National Association for African Americans in Human Resources. Beyond the formal titles, I am a mom of 5 and the wife to the Reginald Gant Jr. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And next up top there would be Mr. Shadid. You're on mute, brother.
Great evening, Shadi QE Laser, and today the Q stands for generational wealth. I'm the product of entrepreneurship. It's all I know. It is all I was taught. So family is the first business, is the core value that I believe in. I'm the president of SCORE, full-time entrepreneur for many years, and my specialty is helping authors, entrepreneurs, and professionals to package their knowledge, their signature programs, their courses into a curriculum that is leased and licensed to the federal government, to agencies and corporations. And so that is my specialty. I serve as the partnership chair for Black Professional Men, formerly known as the membership chair of Black Professional Men. It is my honor, privilege, and pleasure to share this time and space with you all this evening. Shadidi Laser, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. Then we're going to go into the left corner here with Kendrick. That says you. Are you there? I don't know if he's there. Are you there? Okay. Cool.
At a push of a button, I'm there. And the wife is at the other button. Greetings, everyone. I'm Kendrick Tillman. I serve as the Vice President of Black Professional Men. And my company's 5-Star Enterprise. We do community outreach, educational services, and community engagement. We just launched a product now here in Baltimore for almost 2 years called Math Through Music. So if you know any educators, please let them know we have a full kit that actually teaches you how to DJ using 5th grade through 9th grade math. So with that, I'll digress. I'm the STEM King. It's known as the STEM DJ, and would love to engage your young people in science, technology, engineering, and math.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And next would be Brother Everett, Big E.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for participating in our Women's Night. This is the Women's Night tonight, even though it's Black Freshman, this is Women's Night tonight. So we represent our queens tonight. I want to thank y'all for coming together. My name is Everett Smith. I'm Secretary of Black Professional Men. I'm photographer, I'm insurance agent, I'm internet marketer. And I want to say, y'all in for a treat tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks a lot, E. Miss Carol, you up next. Is she looking around? Yes, you, Miss Carol. Yes, you.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And the purpose of me being here is to support my husband. So thank you for having me. And I look forward to this evening.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you joining us this evening.
Thank
And brother, is it Donnell? I want to pronounce it right. Is it Danielle? Warrior? Danielle or Daniel?
It's Darnell. How are you?
Okay, good.
My name is Darnell Wooden. I am actually a brand new member of BPM as of this past Friday. And I am a co-organizer of Baltimore Ceasefire Movement 365. I am also a community organizer, community engagement coordinator for the Baltimore Consent Decree Monitoring Team, where our job, we're agent of the court, and we are tasked with educating the community on why the monitoring team is here with the consent decree, but also getting feedback from the residents about interaction of police officers in their area after they're trained through the policies of the reform of the consent decree. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm seeing some familiar faces. I'm seeing the dynamic Jewel guy. She is the best ever.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us this evening too. We appreciate it. And next we have another familiar face as well too, Miss Jewel. How are you? You want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jewel Guy. I am the author of Dear Black Men. I am a visual storyteller, a Reiki master teacher, a mediator. That's where I met Darnell. And my work is really just to be a conduit of healing and a guide and a facilitator to have uncomfortable conversations that gets us into healing a lot more quickly. And so I'll stop there because I have another part in tonight's session, but I'm really grateful to be here.
Yes, absolutely. And Miss Jewel is no stranger to us, but As she mentioned, she's going to be coming up in like not even 2 minutes, y'all. So we want y'all to hold tight. This young lady is dynamic and is going to be talking with us tonight as our community partner and just talk about some great things I think that have to do with us as men, but then collectively as our topic for this evening, discussing about men and women working together with as power couples, but then also building the family. So we're going to jump right in because we know that Julie is kind of restricted with the time and she has to go. So we're going to walk right into our community partner, which is Miss Jewel Guy. And I'm just going to give you all just a little bit of information about her and who she is. And then we're going to let her speak. And then if you all have any questions that you might want to ask her, then we can do that as well too. Okay, that works for everybody. So Ms. Jewel Guy is a human being dedicated to healing. As an author, visual storyteller, life coach, and Reiki, I hope I'm saying that right, master teacher, Jewel is consistently sharpening her skills to be of service to humanity. Her project, Dear Black Men, is a book and movement dedicated to creating safe space for Black men to be heard and understood without judgment. Jewel and her husband, Desmond, facilitate a bi-weekly virtual healing circle for Black men to continue necessary and sometimes uncomfortable conversations in order to foster greater self-awareness and self-reflection. So I want to introduce to everyone and those that may not be familiar with Jewel, author, speaker, wife, and just life coach, visual storyteller, Miss Jewel Arthur. Miss Jewel, are you there?
Thank you. Yep, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. You have the floor.
Thank you. So as we alluded to a little bit earlier, so in 2018, I started having some serious conversations with my husband about our relationship. And at that time, we were probably married about a little over a year. And the conversations were really about lack of communication, misunderstandings, assumptions, and expectations that we bring to relationships without actually having, actually asking the questions that we really want to know. Like, what do you see in a relationship? What is a relationship to you? How have you seen love portrayed, in your younger life? A lot of times, everything around us shows us that we need to be in these relationships or we should be in these relationships, but nobody is really telling us the how. And so with my own personal experience, I began starting to create apologies, affirmations, and questions for Black men on Facebook specifically. And so what happened was just genuine conversation about whether it was Black men not receiving apologies for things that were done to them, expectations and assumptions that were pressed on them without actually having questions, or just the normal day-to-day things like saying thank you for the hard work that he's been putting in and, showing appreciation for the things that he does do. And so as I started those conversations, I started looking back into my own life and looking to see what were the things that I was taught about relationships. What were my interactions like with Black men when I was younger? And I tell people now, after about 3 years of doing this, is that I am probably the most unlikely person to do this because I hadn't had great relationships with Black men as a younger person. And usually those relationships were really strained. And so what happened was what really spread into an authentic and safe place on Facebook, because I want to make sure that I do say this, is that when I was asking these questions on Facebook, I wasn't giving advice. I wasn't telling someone how they should feel or what they should do differently. It was just a platform for people to just share, to say what they needed to say, and to feel safe in doing that. And so since 2018, we published the book in 2019. And now the book is used in therapy groups. It is used among social workers for young Black men as well, and even younger boys, to just start asking them the questions about themselves. Who do they believe they are? Like, what does their self-worth look like? And I think that these are conversations that we need to be having, because if we don't personally have these conversations, society is going to take our children on a ride, like they have taken us on a ride, until we got to a place where we wanted to think for ourselves, that we needed to begin to heal ourselves, and need to start asking ourselves the harder questions so that we could get more self-awareness and have self-reflection. And so one thing that I'm looking to do this year, my husband and I started our healing circle virtually. And so on Facebook, we have a Dear Black Men private group where men can share whatever they feel, and get feedback if they want it. You know, one thing that I've realized over time, just having conversations with Black men, is that sometimes they're not looking for a response. They just want somebody to listen. And that goes for partners, that goes for homeboys, all of those things. So on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month, we hold an hour healing circle on different topics every week. And we make sure that we continue to maintain that safe space, just to make sure that people, no matter what that's going on in life, that they have a place to come, to rest, to share what they feel, and to be accepted, and to not be judged for what they have to say or for what they have experienced. And so that is the work of Dear Black Men. We're definitely looking to partner with more organizations whose target audience is Black men, whose goal is the holistic healing of Black men. And also this month, we are launching Dear Black Women, as well as a companion book or a book to be by itself, to do just the same work that we're doing, to show honor, respect, love, and appreciation for Black women, and also give them space to self-reflect, to build their self-worth, to understand how amazing and wonderful they are. And this is the work that we do. So one person at a time, and creating safe space in everything that we do. So I am open to partnering with organizations, to do workshops with organizations, so that we can get these tools and these support systems to people who really need it. We have violence in the city because of many things, many systematic things. But think about what would happen if we learned to communicate better with each other. If we learned how to say how we feel instead of punching somebody in the face, instead of shooting somebody because that's what we feel like is the best thing. What if we could say what we needed to say the way that we needed to say it and be accepted for it? Like, what does that look like? What does better conversations look like? How can we do better inside of our families? Because it starts with us, right? Baltimore is huge, but what can I do myself to communicate better with someone else? And so that's what it's all about. It's being able to be self-reflective and self-aware of the conflicts that I can't be a part of, the things that I can't say, the language that I don't have, and where can I go to get that language so that I can effectively communicate and share what I feel in a place that is safe. And so in closing, I always say that, safe places don't happen without us first being safe people. So we have to make sure that we are safe people first. And we become safe people by first honoring ourselves and what we feel, honoring what we have experienced, and giving ourselves the empathy. And then once we give ourselves the empathy, we can extend that empathy to someone else. And so I just want to thank Black professional men for always being supportive of Dear Black Men, for always helping me to align with a lot of the visions that you all have, and stretching me, stretching me and challenging me to be even better than I am. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Leroy.
Okay, can you all hear me now? Okay. All right, because the mic must not be working. But anyway, Jewel, thank you so much. I want you to, can you leave the, we'll start with you having to leave the information of where people can purchase your book,
Sure.
Black Men.
Sure. So I'll type it in the comments, but I'll also say that you can go to www.dearblackmenbook.com. That takes you directly to our print on demand publisher. I'll also put my website as well, because we sell the book directly on my website, and we just got some more in today, so I'm excited about that. And we also have, I'll type in here as well, we also have Instagram and Facebook. On Facebook, you can just search Dear Black Men. It'll come up as a private group. You answer some questions, I'll let you in. And that is how you get access to the healing circle as well. And I think we have our meetings on the same night. But right now we have a good amount of people where we'll keep it like that. As it grows, we'll probably extend it to a couple different days.
Awesome. Now, we're going to open it up really quickly for you, Drew, to see if anybody has any questions for you, and we can go from there to see, because I know I got one or two questions in relation to what we're talking about this evening, what we'll be talking about this evening. Anybody have any questions? You want to unmute and you can ask your question.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You made a valuable point about, let's say, conflict resolution and what does communication look like.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised in an environment where problem solving was definitely violence first. And it was through martial arts that actually helped me to become a better communicator, because if you know how to defend yourself, then you don't go to that right away. You learn other ways to resolve things. So my question for you, from your vantage point, is for a young man who's going through their journey now and maybe younger, what would be a strategy that you would recommend in order to start the dialogue versus the fists and the guns?
Right. So that's twofold, right? Because when we're talking about conversations, we're always talking about how is someone else going to respond back to me, right? And so the first thing is to understand, what is this other person's response normally? Because you can go up and you can talk to people all that you want to, but you have to know your environment. You have to know the people that you're around. So I would first say that, one, know your environment and know who you're talking to. Their types of response, how do they usually deal with conflict? And then I would say, secondly, is to build yourself up with those tools. What do I do? You said martial arts. I'm really big on mindfulness and breathing, because martial arts is all about the chi and, actually controlling the emotion, controlling the way that you feel. So my husband always says too, like, when we're not breathing, you're not thinking. That breath and that oxygen goes to your brain first. So I would say, when you're in a situation where you need to handle some conflict, my biggest thing is to breathe first. Because in breathing, you're taking a pause and you're giving yourself a moment to think through what could happen in this moment. And once you've done that, you have to think about, what do I want this outcome to be? I want to say the way that I feel, right, in this situation. I'm not looking for a fight if that's how I actually feel. Okay, what you said to me was disrespectful. Now, based on what the other person, their fight or flight response, I think it's all about relationship, just knowing who you're talking to. If you know it's somebody who's going to just pop off, your best bet is probably just to walk away. But if you know it's somebody who will actually listen to you, at least hear what you have to say a little bit, then you can start with having a small conversation. Hey, what you said to me, that didn't sit right with me, and tell them the way that you feel. I think it's a good place to start. I would also say, if you are not confident about that, community mediation is really good for this. Having an outside partner, right? Having somebody who will sit at the table with you, who's not on anybody's side, and you can talk about whatever it is that you need to talk about freely, without judgment. That's my biggest suggestion. If you feel like you can't do it by yourself, find somebody else that can help mediate that situation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Carol.
Yep.
Okay, and my question is, I know you mentioned something about, well, me and my husband, we do it all the time. Whenever we have disagreements, we'll get a piece of paper and we'll write down on one side, what makes us happy, the other side, what makes us not happy, and if it's worth it to continue with the relationship. And we did that a lot in our marriage, and it seems to work.
Yeah.
And I kind of heard a little bit of, heard you say a little bit about that. How do you feel about that? Do you think that that's something, that works for couples?
I think always taking a step back to reevaluate is always beneficial, right? I like that route. For my husband, he likes to talk about things, so he won't sit down and write it. So what we did is we had to, first, I'd like to say thank you for sharing. And two, is that every relationship is different. You're going to find something that works the best for you. And so for some people, it might be writing things down. And to the point of writing down, when we first got into a relationship, we wrote down an agreement where we agreed on 12 different things collectively that we would strive to do. So things like to listen before judging, to be uncomfortably honest, to have fun, to support each other, right? Those are things that we didn't necessarily come in with, but it's a guideline that we come back to. Okay, we're not on the same page. All right, let's go back to our agreement. What things aren't we hitting? And then of those things, are there some things that need to change? Do we need to adjust, right, for where we are now? Because we wrote that pre-year one, right, before we were even married. So as we are getting into year 6, it's like, okay, there might be some things that need to change. Also, because my husband is a great communicator, we had to find time where I could say, all right, I know that it's important for you to talk about this, but I can't receive what you're saying right now. So can we come back to this in a little bit, right? Because for me at that time, I was very silent. I wasn't the biggest communicator, and I didn't come from a family who was the communicators. So it was a learning process to be in a relationship with someone who was so communicative. Like, we got to talk about this now. And I would just shut down. So I like your route of writing the things down, because I also acknowledge that creates space and time for you personally to process the things and also come back together to share what both of you have come up with. So I like that.
Yes, thank you. And he's a great communicator, so it really helps me because I'm not the best communicator. So it really helps us.
Right, exactly. Sometimes somebody has to lead. Like if you're stronger in different areas, it might be you who leads. If it's him, it doesn't even matter, right? Whoever is the person who has that experience becomes the leader. And then over time, you can reflect that. And it seems like that has worked really well for you guys.
Absolutely.
Good.
I just will add that the writing things down helps when you're not hearing each other. So just like you said with your rules, that's kind of where that kind of broke from, because if you're listening to respond, you're not listening to understand. And so for us, when we are at that height of the moment where we're not listening to each other, you know what? Let's write it down, because I can't cut you off if I'm reading what you said. You can't cut me off if you're reading what I'm saying. And so that was a sidebar, because I'm a whole Toastmaster. I love to talk and communicate. And in my mind, I'm not even looking at a debate unless I know the end result. So when as my engineering brain works and I know that the end result is that I'm correct, then I'll go to debate with you, because you'll find that I actually looked at the end result. She doesn't care about that.
Right.
Your spouse don't care about who's right. None of that at the moment. So we had to learn how to communicate. So what you said was a nugget about just having those guidelines that you kind of just lay out to say, okay, if we're out of whack, which one of these guidelines are you hitting? We skipped that and said, look, okay, if we're not listening to each other to understand and we're only listening to each other to respond, let's write it out, because we can't cut each other off while we're reading. So I want to just chime in on that note.
I think that's awesome. I think that's great personal awareness, right? Sometimes we don't have that awareness. We're just so used to the way that we do things that once we're in relationships or even in friendships, like sometimes we have to step back and say, okay, how can I do better in this union? Like, how do I communicate better? I think the listening to respond is a big one, because sometimes there are many of us who feel like we're not being heard at all anyway. So I need to get this out. But there is something very human about being heard and understood. There's something very satisfying about having someone sit across from you and not cut you off. It really says that I want to know what it is that is either bothering you, that is important to you. And so we all deserve that, right? It takes a lot of time to perfect that skill. And I would just say a lifetime, because even after being a mediator and learning all of that stuff, there are still times that I cut my husband off. And we correct ourselves in the midst of the conversation. Like, okay, oh, nope, I'm sorry. I didn't wait. I didn't pause. Nope, please go ahead. But even in coaching, I mean, that's a big thing, just listening to the person, because what I've found is that when you listen enough, you'll find the thing that you're probably going to talk about or you're probably going to ask about. You just giving the person the space and the grace to share in their time and their flow is really satisfying.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Can I give a sound effect
Thank
for that?
you.
I appreciate that.
That is awesome. And I want to piggyback off of that, Julian. I know that you have to go, but this is going to segue us right into our panel discussion. So I'm going to before you have to roll out. Can you talk about how important what you all just talked about, listening, is when it comes to both spouses, when you're not just outside of having let's say an argument, but having a discussion, but even when it comes to building a strong family, and then even when each of you are trying to build something individually, whether it's you or collectively, whether it's a business or something like that. How key is that?
Yeah, I think it's really big. I just think sometimes all the time, we have to bring back the humanity, right? This person isn't here as a fixture for me. This is a whole human being with their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own dreams, right? And I think it's important that we come together on the same page and say, okay, you know what? What's important to you? This is something that I've learned over time. So for me, I am the go-getter. I am the innovator. I am the person that can have this idea. And then in the same day, I'm like, okay, I know people who can help me with this. I can get this started. That's just who I am. My husband is a supporter. He's the one that's like, what do you need me to do? He's not the one that's in the front, rah, rah. He's a whole life coach. He can do sessions and seminars if he wants to, but that's not where he is. There is a space and a lane for him. And one thing in conversation and just learning about him is that I understand that that is who he is. And so if I try to push him to be the go-getter and the innovator right beside me like I am, I'm going to get frustrated because that's not who he is. And so I think understanding what the other person wants, what the other person is great at, what their desires are, and listening to them intently and not trying to change them. That's a big thing. Not trying to mold them into who we want them to be, but how can I help you be more of who you want to be? What makes you happy, right? And how do we do that in a way that we still have harmony? Because sometimes it might not be balanced. Sometimes I might be 80 over here and you 20. And sometimes it's opposite. And that's okay. How do we have harmony where we are still working together, moving towards the similar goal? Like my husband and I were talking today, like, I'm ready to just take a year off. Okay, well, what does that look like? How do we have to position ourselves where we can still be serving the people, but yet being in a full restful state? Like, how do we do that? And so that is a goal of his, and that is a goal of mine as well. And so now we have to come together, listening to each other and say, all right, this is what I have in mind. This is what you have in mind. What makes sense for the whole? And so I think listening is key in anything. No matter what type of relationship you are, mother, father, sister, brother, listening is key, because when you listen, you'll get the information that you need. When you listen, you learn more about the other person. There's conversations that we've had in the last year that I'm like, man, you've never said that before. And now I understand you a lot better. Now I understand you're not going to be the one that's out here running with me. Like, we'll do all the vending events. I can make all of that, I can schedule all of those things. But he's the supporter. He's like, I got you. That is who he is. And so I honor and respect him for that, and not try to push him to be who I am. So I think it's just really about understanding who your partner is and listening intently to understand, what caused them to thrive and how can we do this together so we can have harmony.
Absolutely. Now, Jewel, I know you're going to have to dip out, so I want to thank you for participating and joining us this evening and taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and talk with us. So however long that you're able to stay and chime in, please feel free to do so.
Okay.
But I'm going to bring the other two ladies and for our as our panel. This is pretty much just kind of just rolling right into bringing the other two ladies in and have them introduce themselves again a little bit more actually right here. But then we'll get into a dialogue and just some questions that we may that we'll kind of talk about and just around the role of women in building a power couple and a strong family. So we're going to bring Miss Hanitha back in, and then we're going to bring Carol back in together, and we'll have this discussion about the woman's role, and then the men will chime in as well too to ask to maybe ask some questions at the end too. But I'm going to have some questions specifically for you all, for you ladies, that we'll kind of talk about, if that's okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Good evening. Hello, Carol. How beautiful.
Hello.
It's been some years since I've seen you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we'll start with we'll let Carol go first, if you don't mind, Hanitha, just to kind of introduce herself a little bit again. Talk a little bit about, if you want to, talk a little bit about what you do, and then for those that may not know the connection that you have with Black professional men. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And yes, again, my connection is with my husband, Kendrick Tillman. And the main reason I'm here is basically just to let you know what I do to support him and how we make, a happy couple. So I would like to thank you again for having me. And I look forward to everything. And actually, what I do, I am a real estate person. I used to own my own title company. Now I'm into banking. So I sit on the back line because I've already done, had my business. I've done that part. And now I'm here for support. I'm here to support my husband and everything that he needs to do in order to bring us to the forefront. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Hanitha?
Hello again, everyone. So my connection to BPM, even though I'm not a man, I always feel like I'm part of BPM anyway. But through my husband Reginald Gant Jr. So I already shared all of the, all of the other formal stuff. But beyond that, I just am really grateful to have this conversation because you don't really find too many other platforms talking about this particular topic. So I'm just excited to be here. And again, I'm looking forward to the dialogue. Thank you again, Leroy and Kendrick, Hassan, Shadid, and all of the other BPM members. I appreciate you all for opening this spot up for us today.
Yeah, and we thank both of you ladies for coming and sharing with us, and we appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to be able to talk with us and everything like that. So I drew up some questions because I knew we were going to be having this dialogue tonight, and um, we wanted to get this, since this is National Women's History Month. I think I got that right, National Women's History Month, and we've been celebrating women all month. We thought that this would be a good time to be able to see some of the women that support BPM. Whether it's through, like you said, through those that have men that are members, or even those like Jewel that support us through the community, through their community partnership and everything like that, because it's vital that we understand the role and the roles that you all play, and then the roles that we play together in being able to create power couples, like we have here with Kendrick and Carol, and then Hanitha with you and Reginald. Those are important, and like you said, Hanitha, you don't hear a lot of conversations about them, about this particular topic and what it takes to create these things, because it's not easy. Like we've been talking about, it's not an easy thing, and people may think that, when you're out and about, or you're always smiling and you're doing events and everything is hunky-dory, when no, it's not always hunky-dory, and there are things that go on that need to be talked about in order to make it a good relationship and everything like that. So I want to start off, if I can, by asking each of you ladies, what do you believe is the woman's role in building a power couple? And we can start with you, Hanitha.
Woman's role. I don't necessarily know if it's a woman's role,
Okay.
per se. I would say though that it's important for you to know your role, whatever role you do play. Because in a power couple you have, it's two people, right? It's not just about you. And I used to think, and I grew up, I'm first generation to two parents born in Sierra Leone, West Africa, so I have a lot of traditional, woman role upbringing. But what I quickly realized is that with my entrepreneurial spirit and my husband's as well, I had to let go of what I thought the role of a woman was, because I could not stand him washing the dishes. Like, why are you washing the dishes? That's my job. Oh, yeah. I'm like, that's my job. But guess what? Years later, I don't mind. Listen, babe, you go. Oh, you got the dishes? You got it, right? So as it relates to the power couple, knowing, I think we all have the different definitions. It would be interesting to define what that means. But in knowing that it's two people, it's about knowing our individual roles and what we are called to do here on this earth, and how do we show up as our best selves to make sure that we're both united as one. So again, sorry I didn't answer that specifically, but I don't know if there's really a gender thing in it.
No, and it's not. I didn't mean it as a gender thing, but like I think Jewel touched on it a little bit earlier, was just who does what best.
Yeah.
If you're better at financing, hey, then you do the financing. If I'm better at cooking, then I do the cooking. That type of role is what I'm referring to as far as that. Not necessarily gender specific for doing anything.
Yeah.
So definitely. So Miss Carol, how about you?
Yes, I'm not a speaker like the rest of y'all, so I had to write down a couple of things. I hope y'all don't mind, but I did put
Not
my
at all.
thoughts on paper, and I would like to just tell you how I think that it should be. Okay, so things have changed really since I've grown up. I was born in the 60s and was taught by my grandmother just by watching her on how to get and keep a man. I think that marriage transforms the life of a woman from a pampered, carefree girl. She evolves into a responsible wife ready to take on the duties of her wife of a wife. I will be happy to share with you what I do and what I know. So the first thing that I think is very important is that you have to love him unconditionally. And to me, that means that a man wants to be liked, loved, and appreciated just like a woman does. As a wife, I give unconditional love to my husband physically and emotionally, appreciate him generously, and nurture him as your child. The other thing that I do is I try to support him in everything that he does because I always believe that teamwork makes the dream work. I never speak negative about him. If we have issues, we sort them out at home behind closed doors. I'm always available for him. He can put his hands on me at any time. And I love to cook. I love a man that can eat. I love cooking for him. That's my biggest thing. We hardly ever eat out. I'm a big cooker. I'm eager to fulfill all of his needs. I make sure that, we do talk. If we have problems, we write them down. Like I said, we have a big old calendar in our bathroom. If it's issues, we make time to talk about it. I'm faithful to him. I'm a responsible wife, like you said. Wife's blessing to the family. Okay, sorry. A wife's blessing to the family, and I do that well. I'm responsible in running the household, managing our finances, and taking care of anything that comes along. He gives me the freedom to do this, but I always seek his help with major things that come along with running the household or our marriage. So, it is a little hard being married to, I call him a celebrity, but you just have to find things that make him happy and make you happy at the same time. And I think we do pretty good with that. So thank you for allowing me to say that.
I love it.
I hope that wasn't too
Love
much.
it. I love that. I love that. I love that. Um, and it's great that I have you two specifically on here. Carol, that you've had a business before, and then Hanitha, what you being an entrepreneur now too. I want you all to talk about in this 21st century. Do you think that there is more support for women building successful businesses? Than there has been before, or do you think that it could be better? And then I want you to talk specifically about you and your husband's role in assisting you to be able to build your business or to be able to be supportive in you having your own business. Carl, I'll have you start first.
Well, my husband, he was definitely very supportive when I did have my business. Actually, he was the backbone for me. A lot of the stuff that he's learned now, I wish that I would have had that back when I was running my business because he is a great speaker. He's always there to support me. So I really, would like to do anything that I can to be able to support him now. Because like I said, I've already done that. And now I'm getting to the point where I just, want to relax a little bit because running a business is very hard. It's not easy. It's not easy, and you need that support. If you don't have that support, which I didn't have enough of, believe me, you're not going to make it. So the main thing is that support. If you have it, that is great. To have that support. It's hard, but you need it to survive.
Absolutely. Same question to you, Hanitha.
Yep. So about like women businesses and if they were repeat the question again, it was about
Yeah, being in the 21st century, do you think that there's been more support for women building successful businesses than there has been before?
yeah.
And do you think there can be can there be more support?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I'm all about woman empowerment, but I must admit, my husband and I are always talking about this. I just feel like we need to, especially as women, because we are getting, we have our own month, but beyond that, I think as women, especially as Black women, we owe it to our Black men as well to make sure that they are still lifted up, to make sure that people do, there's so many things that you all have to deal with on a daily basis that you do not talk about. So I think that it is our role really, to make sure that we lift you all up as much as possible, and not just privately but also publicly, so I definitely think that there's a lot of, I can't go anywhere without, yes sis, yeah, I mean, women are out here. But for those men, I just want to encourage you, if I could just, I want to encourage you, for those men that are watching, if you know that you are called to do something, you're supposed to do something, like, shine. We are waiting for you, King. We are waiting for you, man of God, for you to step up, for you to shine. Just because women are out here getting, all the accolades now, don't feel like you have to step behind when you know you're called to the front, if you're called to the front.
I want to piggyback off of that. How important do you think that it is? Because I've had conversations, about that very thing, about being supportive. There's so much emphasis on women empowerment. There's so much emphasis on women doing great things and everything like that. That sometimes we as men feel like we don't have a voice, or that we do get left behind. How important is that statement that you made about letting men know, not just privately, but also publicly? How do you all both feel about that, about acknowledging, your husband specifically, publicly, but also men in general, getting acknowledged publicly?
Carol, did you want to go first?
Okay. That's a big one for us, because a lot of times when my husband is being acknowledged publicly, I like the fact that he mentions me, because that's important to me, because it's important for me to know that people know that he does have a backbone, a strong person that's pushing him to do this stuff, or that's helping him, that's making sure that everything is okay for him while he, that he is able to do the things that he does, that he is able to serve on all of these boards. So it's really, really nice to see that someone really appreciates what we do in the back scene. So, I think that's important. And as long as I can see that he appreciates it, then I'm going to appreciate him much more. And I'm going to push him as much as I can and do what I know that he needs to be done to become, the person that he wants to be, successful.
Yeah, I would just, echo what Carol said. What's done privately helps you to show up a little bit more publicly, right? So my husband does a wonderful job support me behind the scenes, and even if he did not, it just makes it a little bit better. It makes it a little bit better when you know that you loved at home, you're able to show up out and here in the world. But this question is particularly even more important to me because I have 4 young Black kings at home as well, right? So we have 4 boys, as well as my husband. So, I need to be able to be part of shouting out Black men, and I need Black professional men to continue to thrive, because my 4 Black sons are going to grow up to be 4 Black men. I mean, to be full grown Black men. And if we are not publicly recognizing, Black men in all of their glory, people, especially children, they do what they see. So if they don't see it, what do they become? So very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, thank you all for that. Now, what do both of you feel that men can do in general in supporting women and becoming, and you all becoming a power couple? When you think of a power couple, what do you think of men doing to show or assist in being able to be that power couple? Because I know y'all can't see it right now, but y'all will see it in a little bit. I specifically put, because I knew we were going to be talking about power couples on as my background. You can't see it right now, but I have, of course, Barack and Michelle. I have Warren and Erica Campbell. I have Denzel and Paulette Washington, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Of course, I just threw that on there. But when I was thinking about power couples, I was thinking of people that were influencers and that influence not just in their house, but also the community. So how important is it in that man's role playing and being that power couple and seen as a power couple for you all? We'll start with you, Hanita.
Got it. So I would definitely say the role, especially for men, let me just speak to my husband. That's all I know, right? In him supporting us being a power couple, I think what was very important was that he knew right away what we were called to. And that's what attracted me to him, right? He has vision, and I saw a way to fit in his vision, and it didn't rob me from what I thought my goals were as well. You know what I mean? So it's very but I will say, in terms of like the role, I think that was the basis of the question. It's important that I'm married to a whole alpha man. And Carol, our husbands actually went to the same school. I mean, both of them engineering brains. So it's very important that that we had conversations, that he can still show up in all of his manliness, but still, let me say this. I know he's watching. No, I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real with you all today. But he could show up in all of his manliness, but still yet know that there's some space for me to, like, all right, bro, you got this, but I got some of this too. And we can actually do a whole lot better together if you let me handle this area and you handle all of this, right? So let's go ahead and work together. So it was rocky a little bit, but we are in such a great gel place now, because it's like, hey, he is great at writing. I'm not the best writer. So when we show up to influence in the world, he writes, and we'll both speak, but he'll definitely do some right. You see him in the comments. See, this is why I can't do nothing with him watching. I can't do, but no, we figured out, like, what does he do well? What do I do well? But even in all of his alpha manish ways, I feel like now he just allows me to still be my, to show up as a bold Black woman as well. And he's not intimidated by it. It's just so refreshing for a Black woman. I don't know if those of you watching, but it's so refreshing for a bold Black woman to show up, and for another Black man to be okay with a woman being bold in all of her Blackness. It's just incredible. And I just love my husband for that.
Carol?
Okay, on that note, we are totally opposite, because I'm the one that sits in the background. He does all of the shining for both of us. And like I said, I've already gone through all of that. So one of the things that I would like to see, or I would like, to see a little bit more of with couples, if you do have, a power couple, one of the important things that I think is that communication. So I think that's so very important, especially if you have a couple working together. And as long as you're communicating about that business and everything in that business, then you should be able to, make something strong together. I know on my part, I usually just take care of home, but there's so much more that I want to do, so much more that I want to be involved in. But sometimes I just don't know how to get to that point. So a lot of times I just sit, in the background. I used to be aggressive and a go-getter and things like that, but things have changed now. Once you start getting older and you get more relaxed. And then when I see him pushing so hard to get to the front, all I want to do is be right there to help him get there, to push him even harder, because I know that I didn't have that support. So I'm all about support.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't know about y'all, but I'm certainly enjoying this conversation with the ladies, and getting this kind of knowledge. I'll call it knowledge to that weekend, and knowledge and dialogue. Because like we've said, this is something I think that needs to be more of, and I think that it will bring it will make stronger couples. I think it will make stronger relationships, especially between men and women, not just in husband and wives, but just in relationships between men and women in general. So I'm appreciating you all sharing your lives with us. So here's my next question, and I'm gonna start with you, Carol, with this one. What are three components that you think make up a strong family? Three components. What do you think that consists of?
Really big for me is communication, support, and love. Just lots and lots of love. Space. I know I gave you a little bit more, but I can keep going with those.
And how about you, Hanitha?
I'll start with the one. Actually, Carol, what you had was on my list as well, which is love. Love covers all sins. Love does a
Mm,
number of things, but also God centered and having a vision. Without having that, people do perish. So knowing where we are heading is super important, I think, as you build a family.
absolutely, I love it. Now, what does it mean to be the spouse of a Black professional man and supporting him in his commitment to the community? I'm gonna start with you, Hanitha, with that one.
Man, oh my gosh, when Reggie and I were dating, he was not just involved in Black professional men, but a number of other. He's mentoring young boy. I mean, like seriously, and this is no shade on anybody else. I just believe my husband is like the ultimate servant. Like he doesn't need to be in the forefront, but I know he speaks, but he does not need to be in the forefront. If you ask him to do something, he's going to do it for you, and he doesn't need any public accolade about it at all. But service is at the root of who he is. So when I'll never forget in my very first BPM event, it was a scholarship program for the young men. And I was just so impressed that you all were doing something like that. So what it means on my end is that I have to and I don't mind it, but I have to be extra supportive. So I want to make sure that I'm showing up. Yeah, I have other things going on too. I'm a mom, and I have to show up for my mother. I have siblings, all different types of hats that I wear. But it's important that when he shows up, not just for BPM, but as he shows up in service, it's very important for me to show up with him as well if I can be there, which is I usually try to shift everything in my schedule to be able to support him in that. And also it means that I also be available as well, right? I think I shared with you, Leroy, whatever is needed for BPM. And I'm not just saying that because of Reggie being my husband, but I know what you all stand for. I know the heart of the organization, but it's because of all of the great things that Reggie has shared at home. So it just means me showing up, supporting, being available, not just to him when he has to show up, but also to the organization.
Absolutely. How about you, Carol?
Well, I just, like I said, support is very important. Communication is important. And just being available and, being there for your other half, your better half. Communication, teamwork makes the dream work. Very important. He has my full support. Whatever he
Mhm.
needs. Now, one of the things I can say, he is on 10 boards. It drives me crazy. I do have to, sometimes I get a little frustrated because I had to kind of like, you know, request my time. But other than that, everything that he does, everybody knows Kendrick, DJ Five Star. He puts so much into the community. He gives so much. He really does. He's in here at nighttime, all night long till in the morning, doing stuff for
Mm,
all of the, associations that he belongs to, all of the clubs that he belongs to. So it's a lot of work. There's a lot of time that he puts in. But again, that's what I'm here for, to be his backbone, whatever he needs.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, ladies, what does it mean to be the spouse of a Black professional man and his support of you? Um, and his support of you. Have you all seen the benefits of him being a part of this kind of organization that has a place that he can go to be able to be around like-minded other men, and then bringing that back into you all's home? I'm sorry, I'll start with Carol with that.
Oh, absolutely. My husband, I have seen him change so much just from being on, Black Professional Men, other boards that he's on. It brings so much to him. And it makes him happy. So I feel like it really is a plus for him. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people that are in the clubs. I always feel welcome no matter what. I never feel out of place. I'm a very shy person. It's hard for me to talk. I know he does a lot of talking. So for y'all to get me on this camera like this to sit up here and talk about my husband, believe me, he had to do a lot of coaching over here. And that is the truth.
Well, that's good. That's good. That get you out of that comfort zone
Yes,
that you're in.
yes, yes.
Leave the familiar is what I call it. Leave the familiar. You
I
know what
love
I'm
it.
saying? How about you, Hanitha?
Absolutely. My husband used to lead the men's group sessions. I remember this is pre-COVID, and I remember him showing up whether it was 2 people or 10 people. And I mean, when he got home, my goodness, it's just a difference. It's just a difference. He's just so invigorated with empowering Black men, so to for him to be able to be around like-minded people is just, it does numbers. And just as a spouse, it's great when your spouse has another outlet, right?
Mm.
You want to be the safe space for him all the time, but for him to go, you can't talk to me about men stuff because I'm not a man, right? So for him to be able to go and speak to other men about all y'all, whatever it is that y'all talk about, and then to come home filled up to be able to still love me, to still love our family, just meant the world. But it was through those experiences when he led those men conversation. I forgot what it was called, but it was through that I saw that, man, he's a really good coach. I mean, he can make men cry. I'm not saying that he's purposely making men cry, but I've seen men cry, and he's just able to. He really has a heart for y'all. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. But it makes a world of a difference when he comes home after he speaks with his Black brothers, for sure.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
And that's good. And that's good to know, Hanitha, because we as men don't sometimes, us being a part of Black professional men, we don't necessarily see what goes on at home and the effects that it can have on the men being back or going back into the home. So that's good to know and appreciate you sharing that with us and everything. So how can BPM assist more women such as yourselves in achieving your goals in the family and in the community? And I'll start with you with that one, Hanitha.
To be honest, I think BPM does such a great job with that. I mean, I'm not just saying that. You all do a great job in promoting and highlighting and bringing people to the table. I've had countless of conversations with Hassan, just on a number of different projects, and Kendrick as well. I think you all do a great job at identifying where the voids are, not just in the organization, but also in the city, and figuring out who we can plug and play, like not caring like if it's a man or a woman, right? We are about getting this thing done. So I would just say continue to do what you are doing, BPM, and continue, I guess. I would love to see the maybe Black professional woman. Just saying, wink, wink, hint, hint, all of that stuff. See what's going to happen with that. But just continue creating spaces, and I think the more that that we come together and having moments like this, man, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Now, how do you feel about more couples development? You think that would be something that?
Oh my gosh! Remember, you all did the Black. I forget the names of it, but you all did something like that in the past. It was phenomenal. But absolutely, the having couples and even singles. I just think having both genders, you know, sometimes together just brings a different dynamic that isn't necessarily always done. When you all men need to get together, women need together, but when we come together on the same accord, don't get me excited.
That was called Black Love, the Black Love series.
Yes, and it was an
or the Black
expo. It
Love.
was the expo, right? Yep.
Yep.
It was
Right.
phenomenal. It was
Right.
phenomenal.
I
met
got a
so
sound
many
effect
great
for that.
people there. I'm sorry.
All right, all right, all right.
Did y'all hear my sound effect?
How about you, Carol? What do you think that that can be done by Black professional men in supporting more women like you all in the community and in the family?
Well, I think this is a great start. It really is, because I was so excited to, find out that I was going to be a part of this. It's really exciting. I think that if we did something like maybe a wives club or something like that, and then maybe we can help y'all, maybe we can just help each other, like a wives club or something like that, that we can put together for all of the men's wives that are available that would like to do something like that. That would be exciting for me, because then that way we can help, and we can help, raise money, support y'all, go out and do events, whatever we needed to do. I think that would be a good thing. And this, like I said, right here is a great start. I really like this.
Absolutely. Okay, ladies, last question, okay? What advice would you give to women who are trying to keep a balance between building their dream and supporting their spouses and the family? What advice would you give to them? And I'll start with you, Hanitha.
Woo. My advice changes probably on a quarterly basis when it comes to this. Seriously. But I would say at this very moment is to give yourself grace and to communicate what you need. And while that's happening, make sure that you are not, make sure that you're still focusing on the main thing. Because while you might be building your own, don't forget what the purpose is, what is the vision. And it's for both of you as the couple to be one. So if that means you sacrificing in one season so the other can, the other person can get what they need to get, then that's what needs to happen. But just make sure that you communicate what you need and stay laser focused also on what your spouse needs, right? If we continue doing that, I don't see any demises that could come out of that for sure.
How about you, Carol?
Me and my husband, we joke a lot about the 80-20 rule, because he always say that I might be an 80 in some things and he might be a 20 and others, and vice versa. But whatever the case may be, we make it work to get to that 100, no matter what it is. So I think that communication is a big part of that. Support is a big part of that, but don't lose yourself in supporting someone else. Just make sure that the both of you are happy, that you both are doing whatever you need to make each other happy, not just one-sided. So thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it. Like I said, this is something really, really good. I hope y'all continue with this. I enjoyed it. It's hard to get me to do stuff like this, like I said. So just imagine somebody like me enjoying something like this. And I'm very impatient, and I've sat here the whole time. The whole time. My husband will tell you, any other time I would have been gone in like 5 or 10 minutes. So I really enjoyed this. Y'all had my attention the whole time. And I just hope you keep this up, because I think it's important. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So we want to thank both of you ladies. And Hanitha, I want you to give your information, your contact information, so that people that may want to they need HR assistance or to have you come speak, because I know that you're a speaker too. So I want you to be able to give your information out of how people can connect with you, and then if you can put it in the chat as well too. Okay.
Sure. I'm laughing because of Kendrick's applause. I love that. But no, absolutely. I really couldn't hear everything that you said because of it, but I think you said for me to put my information in the chat.
In the chat, yeah, and how people, you can tell it verbally, how people can contact you and connect with you for HR, if they need HR services and for you to come out or virtually speak and everything too.
No problem, no problem. So the easiest way to connect with me in the event that you need any HR services, whether for your career or if you are hiring or your company is just growing and you want to stay out of the courtroom, you want to make sure you can go to bit.ly/call HR, bit.ly/call HR. Thank you so much, Leroy. You were great. The questions were phenomenal. Thank you, BPM. I love you all.
Absolutely. And we thank you all. Like I said, we thank you ladies for taking time out of you all's busy schedule to join us on this at our general body meeting. So it's much appreciated. BPM appreciates all of the behind the scenes support that you all give to the organization, and of course to your husbands as well, because that means a whole lot, and we may not say it enough, but we definitely want to thank you all for all that you all do, and especially not in addition to, because I believe that you should have celebrations all year long, so that it might be this month might be National Women's History Month, but we should celebrate women all year long, just like we should celebrate men all year long too. But we take this time out to acknowledge you all and all of the great things that you all do, and for the family and for the organization. So thank you all again. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you can hang around. We're going to step into our mastermind right now. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Brother Everett and let him do what he do all the time. So Brother Everett, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to do a little bit different. We're going to keep the panelists because this question is really geared to them. I wanted to be all about the women tonight, because that's what we do, about our queens. So we're going to do a little bit different here. And just another question in addition to one that you already had. I'm going to put it in the chat here, and I'm going to read it as well. It's just, how important is it to you and your family being a part of a positive organization such as the Black Professional Men? I'll start with Ms. Tillman.
It's definitely very, very positive for us as a family being a part of a positive organization. I wish we would have had a lot more of this when we were coming up, when I was coming up, because
yes.
And if we could get some of these, and I hate to go off on this, but if we could get some of the younger people to join these organizations, these positive organizations, maybe it'll help them, to take the steps in the right path. So I don't know. I just like stuff like this. There's so much going on in the world right now. There's so many negative things. There's so many things that kids are watching, on TV, on social media. So believe me, this positiveness, I'm all for it. All for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Gant.
Yes, I mean, I don't have too much more to add to that. I think I already shared it as well. It's super important, not just as an individual, as a family. I mean, my sons, especially our 10-year-old, our daughter, who's 21 this year, they all know BPM. They literally, you can stop them and they know what BPM is. So it's very important, not just to, to be belonging to an association, but it's important because, again, representation really does matter. And being in HR, and interviewing from young all the way to seasoned, trust me, it makes a difference. What you all are doing is very, very important. And I can't wait for the world to know what BPM is doing.
Thank you so very much to the both of you. Y'all been outstanding. Y'all been a blessing to Black Professional Men, not just on here, but behind the scenes. That you ladies do things that we don't even know about, that your husbands only know about. So it's always something behind the scene. I want to thank you, and BPM, want to thank you for participating, taking out of your time. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to help us out tonight, and we appreciate you. I'll turn it back over to you.
Hey, well, before they go,
all right, the press res.
I think it's important that everybody understands that when we talk to the men of the organization, you come up very, very frequently. When I say you, I mean, their significant other, and understanding that everything we ask of them, they have you in mind in what they do. But one of the other things I feel is important is the level of importance of your happiness that is contagious throughout the organization. So just how Kendrick is intentional about carving out and protecting time with his beloved, it shows an example for other men to do the same. And very long time ago, we had a member say that people can be a mentor and not even know it. And so many times I've had conversations with Reginald, and the thing is, I need to check with my wife. And so I think that is the standard. And a lot of other men, they also do that. Now I say that because I talk to a lot of other men in the organization, and more times than not, in our conversations, their significant other comes up, and it's very, very very important. And so, for everything that we do, you ladies are the backbone. You're the ones that are able to look us when the world beats us up. We're able to look strong out front because of you. And, it's because of that, I really want to say thank you on the behalf of Black professional men.
All right. Yes, thank you, Hassan.
I had one more added thing is I want to make sure that everyone copies the chat so that you can have this information for later on. The 3-dot messages right at the bottom of your chat, 3 dots there. If you click that there, and it'll be able to save the chat. That way you can save the information to your computer and be able to have it for later. Thank you for your time.
Cool. We appreciate that, Everett. And next up, we're gonna have oh, can you all hear me? Y'all can't hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thought it was muted. Okay. Next up, we're gonna have our health tip and an announcement from Brother Cornell. I think that's him sitting right there. That's you, brother? Look like you got your. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's me. So hey everybody. Yes, ladies, thanks for being a part of tonight, celebrating Women's Month. And so I did not have a health and wellness tip that related just to women, but hopefully you guys can still benefit. So a lot of people say that abs are made in the kitchen. Hopefully some of you have heard that. So the thing is with that, we all kind of eat bad, overeat. We all struggle with that. So one of the first, I guess, steps to trying to do something about that is kind of acknowledging that. So my tip is just to kind of start small with how you try to change things. So a lot of people like to use the term diet. Nobody wants to diet. Nobody likes it. There's some people that are better at it than others, but nobody likes to do it. So if you use a term like eating plan, then that's a small thing that you can do to put yourself in the right direction. So if you eat out 7 days a week now, maybe try to cut it down to 5. If you drink sodas 5 days a week, maybe try to cut it down to 3. So that's a small step that you can make towards eating healthier, being healthier. That's a start. Obviously, that's not gonna get you to be in the next Avengers movie, but you have to start somewhere so that you can grow. So that's my health and wellness tip. Abs are made. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I got bronchitis.
Right.
Everybody got time for that.
I
just
love
kidding.
the sound effects.
Oh, I understand. They don't. That's why I got to get on here and talk every month. We all struggle with this.
I'm just kidding. I got
I
time
need my
for it.
abs, man. I need my abs, bro. You had to give us a tip on how to get those abs, though.
Oh
You
yeah.
know?
Well, we'll say that for next month's meeting.
Yeah, exactly. I need my six pack. So we appreciate that. Our next part, I'm coming to you. I believe it is Brother Shadid with the community partnership.
So am I, before Shadi does that, am I making my other announcement?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I just want to share that there is a boost program, and I keep messing the name up, but it stands for Black Owned and Operated Storefront Tenancy. So they're giving away a grant, not a loan, but a grant of up to $50,000 to take over one of the vacant storefronts in Baltimore. So the original deadline was tonight to have your application in, but they extended that through the end of March. So you can just Google Boost program. And like I said, $50,000. I do not run the program. I'm one of the people that are applying for the program. But they've extended it from today until March 31st. So anybody that didn't have everything together, you have an additional 2 weeks to get that in there.
Cornell, do you mind sharing the notes towards it from the end of the meeting we had that is going to be available to BPM members?
You may have to refresh my memory. You said, so as far as the advantages that the BPM members have?
Yes, if you remember those.
I guess I can say a little bit, and then you can help me out if it's something that I may miss. So we basically had an information session, a private information session. Basically anybody that applies gets access through a lot of resources. So there is legal advice, there is accounting advice, and even if you're not selected for the 50,000, there's still a lot of resources that will come your way. We have some BPM members that are pretty involved with this program. So I guess we, kind of get green lighted by being BPM members. So, Mr. President, if you want to add anything to that.
So part of the purpose of this program is to provide Blacks with the opportunity to be involved in the process. And so just because you don't get the grant, they're offering the experience to you. And with that experience comes those resources for free. So lawyers, consultants, all those particular things are available as long as you're supporting the Black Professional Men Scholarship Program. You're able to get access to that. And the what's so fitting with this particular meeting is that that's just not limited to the men. That's limited to them and their significant others. So this is open to power couples. So everybody should be applying for this.
Absolutely. Now, yeah, and can they, Cornell, are they able to get more information? Are they able to connect with you in some kind of way, or?
I'll put the link in the chat.
Did you? Okay.
People just need to go to the program. They can, if possible, Google the program, but just go and apply.
Yeah, I'm the competition, so you don't want to go to me.
Yeah.
I might lose your application.
I know, right? It'd be like
he's the worthy rival. He's the worthy rival. He's not competition. He's the worthy rival.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to turn the mic over to Brother Shadid and let him do our community, talk about our community partnership and everything. So Brother Shadid, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, so Shadi Laser once again, and especially for those who are, let's say, give me a second here. Okay. Okay, so for those who are tuning in on YouTube as well as Facebook and have an interest in aligning your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, your professional talents with Black professional men, I want to walk through some quick details about our partnership initiative. And so one detail in celebration of Women's History Month that addresses a common misconception is that although we are Black professional men, women can actually partner and also financially support our scholarship program through different partnerships that we have, as well as being a BPM supporter. So we have various examples ranging from event hosts to vendors to workshop coordinators, so on and so forth, as well as administrative and technical roles behind the scenes that help the BPM engine run. So when it comes to the internal members and those who come to the organization and they have a desire to partner in some way, going to walk through the process briefly. So when we talk about, let's say, our partnerships as a whole, all partnerships start with documentation. Now, accountability is always a powerful tool to keep everybody honest. And so we have our internal partnership operating agreement. So if you are a member and you want to do business with the organization, you want to support the growth of the organization through your talents, the first step is for you to fill out operating agreement. There's a few key details that you must be aware of in that in order for you to step forward and support the organization, you must first support our mission by being a contributor to the scholarship fund. So this is going to be a key required field that you fill out. And then you walk down the different types of partnerships, whether it's a content partnership. So maybe you're a speaker, maybe you're an event host. Media partnership, brand new, Leroy McKenzie is one powerful example of that. Promotional partnership, where we've done partnerships with FICO, for example, and given them access to our community and our networks so that they can expose their products, services, and training. And so there's also service-based partnerships where if you want to, let's say, get a professional headshot done, then we have photographers as partners who can help you kind of spruce up your professional image. So when it comes to, let's say, event partnerships, especially, it's required that you have a backup on hand in order to keep that, let's say, continuity going in that your event will be shared and distributed through the BPM partnership network. And so you will be required to provide one backup resource. Now that resource can either be a BPM member or a member of your staff or personnel, but they have to be listed and documented here. And also, we have various checkpoints, 30, 60, and 90 days to keep the partnerships moving along. So just wanted to provide some overview details as the opportunities that come to the network are growing every day. As was just mentioned a few minutes ago, the Boost program is a citywide initiative. And from my vantage point at SCORE, it's a very hot topic for economic development within the city of Baltimore. And Black Professional Men is providing direct access to the coordinators of the program in order to take you through the steps in order to succeed. There's other resources that we have available, such as the Business Toolkit, which provides education that will help you to take advantage of opportunities as they come up. So if you have any questions for me, my email will be in the chat, and that is partnerships@bpminc.org. Take it away, Leroy.
Absolutely. So as we close out, and as we usually do with each of our general body meetings, we're going to bring up our president and have him talk to us to give us an overview, and then to actually close out this particular general body meeting. Mr. President.
How you doing? Thank you, Leroy. I want to thank the team for putting together the meeting this month. I think I was actually hands off for most parts of it, and so this is just all from the great work and teamwork of the brothers kind of coming together. So I really do appreciate that. This year is our 30-year anniversary, and one of the things we're going to be doing outside of celebrating this milestone all year long is this month we're going to have a private session for our members with Nick Mosby, the council president of Baltimore City. So that is going to be March 31st at 6 p.m. Everybody should have gotten an email. If you didn't get the email, please just send us a message in the chat, or you could send a note, email note to us if you did not get the email. We can send that information to you. So this is going to be a virtual event. A few years ago, we did this with the then mayor, Stephanie Rollins, and we was able to have a private lunch with her. But obviously, in this time, we're going to have it be virtual, and we're going to kind of work out how everybody's able to have an option to purchase a meal to be delivered. But you will be able to have access to the president of the city council and be able to ask him questions about anything that you would like to ask, as well as being able to network with some of the other members of the organization. So one of the other things that we're also doing is we're putting out some of the business benefits of Black professional men. And so I just want to kind of touch a little bit on that. So some of the tangible benefits are the use of our social media and network marketing tools. We have limited graphic design support. So any member that support our scholarship program is able to take advantage of this. And I know Leroy has been one of the members who's been utilizing this the best. He actually did a good, what do you call it, silhouette logo? I think
Yeah, and I love it. It that turned out awesome. I love it.
So and again, that's a resource available to all members. Also, as everybody have seen, we've gotten our website updated, and we're going to be able to have to list our members and their businesses on that website. We're also going to be releasing a business circular. So we want to be able to really help everybody get to where they want to be. In addition to that, just a reminder, we are Black Professional Men as a trustee of the Kiva loan. This means that we're able to endorse our members who have businesses and allow them to have the opportunity to get a $10,000 interest-free loan. Now, I've gotten a lot of feedback, and there's a lot of questions about Kiva. Now, it's not our loan, and we do work as like a cosign, but what Kiva does is they don't base this loan on your credit. They base it on your social media, which means that since we're co-signing, you get to leverage our social media. And it's a crowdfunding loan. And it has been increased during COVID to $15,000. Now that is an interest-free loan. Just by being a member, you're kind of given a leg up on that. So it's a great opportunity. And then from there, it's business coaching and mentoring. So there's a lot of wealth in this network. One of the examples I love is from Mr. Lee Sessions, and he does an event every year, and I think his event is up to maybe $85. And the experience that he shared with building that event was he did the event maybe 25 years ago for free, and he did it for a few years for free, and then every year after that it was $5, and then it just increased. And so one of the things I've learned from that is patience. And just the fact that, whatever you want to have is not going to be readily in front of you. But if you build the tracks, it will have the path to get there. And so even with that one event that he offers our members tickets, and mainly because the tickets sell out. So if he doesn't set aside tickets for us, we wouldn't have tickets. And he provides about 6 to 10 scholarships of his own to children of the community. So it's wealth of knowledge like that you may not get from a business course. You won't learn the importance of developing the relationship with certain entities to be able to further your business from a business course. But you would get that from sitting down with a lot of our members as they share their experiences. I loved to share the experience when I had lunch with Edwin, and he mentioned how a lot of times people in our community, we like brand names. And, he would talk about how he had a restaurant on Child Street, and a lot of people would walk past his restaurant and go to, what's that restaurant down there? Cheesecake Factory. Just because people in our community like brand names. And so it's not that having your own restaurant is a bad thing, but it's the point of building your brand first so that you could have a brand name that people want to come to before you step out there. And so even with working with my wife's business, that's one of the things that we have kept in mind. And so again, all of this information, all of these resources are available to every member and their wife and or significant other if they ask for it. So, this is one of those organizations that if you take one step towards us, we take many steps towards you. But it takes that one step towards us to kind of activate those tools and resources. Now, we're also going to have 12 initiatives with our youth development. And that means that over the course of this year, we're going to have a series of fundraisers that we're going to be working on. So I think one of them is for teachers. So when we release that information, you will be able to make donations to help local teachers as they go back into the classroom and and another one that we're doing is PPE. So we're going to be able to collect donations to be able to provide PPE and COVID prevention stations for the teachers as they go back in. So the main things is that we're having our 30-year anniversary private session with Nick Mosby on March 31st at 6 p.m. It's a virtual event, and I will get that to the one gentleman, get that information to the one gentleman that didn't get it. So I added your email to the list, so please check your spam if you did not get that email, but I will forward it to you personally. And then also we have our initiatives, and we have a series of business resources that are available to help everybody, reach their goal. Do we have any questions? All right. Last thing is that Black Professional Men is working to develop a cash grant for our members, a cash grant for businesses. So what we're going to do is that those members, even them or their wives that have businesses that support our scholarship program and take advantage of our free membership benefits, you will be eligible to apply for this grant.
Mr. President, can I give him just a little sneak bit of where it came from?
Absolutely, absolutely.
About a year and a half ago, I asked Mr. President to join the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce. He said, well, we're partners. I said, well, no, when the board are getting resources, I want to mention Black Professional Men, not as a partner, but as a member, and it would make a difference. Fast forward a year later, we're still members of the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce, and a resource came to us that want to get resources capital to small businesses. So they entrusted the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce to give out capital. I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly so everyone understands that Black Professional Men as an organization is a member of the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce. Therefore, the capital that we receive is to cover some of our members. Now, had we not been a member of the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce, this opportunity may have not dropped in our lap. And so I just wanted to clear up that sometimes when people look at competition, it breeds negative energy. Where we should be complementing each other because we all have resources, we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses that need to complement each other. So I just want to give that example of how two organizations complemented each other, where one had a resource, and was able to provide that resource to another organization to provide that resource to its constituents. So I wanted to mention that. Thank you for that moment, Mr. President.
Not a problem, not a problem. And so the word we want to use is worthy rival, not competition. We want to use worthy rival. And I got that from one of the books from my book club, Good to Great. So everybody can learn from everybody. And so just because somebody does the exact same thing that you're doing, they may not be doing it the exact same way you're doing it. They may be using a different technique because everybody's road and path is different. So, the more that we're able to celebrate each other and understand that it's okay to be a worthy rival, there's more that we're going to be able to do. And so I do appreciate everybody's time. I am very excited. This is 2021. Everybody had some kind of a setback in 2020. And so my cousin told me, at one of the points where I had a major setback, at least it was major at that time, he said, you got to have a setback to have a comeback. And, when he said that, I just got so energized because I'm like, yo, this is a setback. So that means that I got to put that same energy to have this comeback. And,
I love it.
We want to make sure everybody is able to have that comeback. So we want everybody to be able to reach wherever they want to be. Now, I would tell you, this year already, Black Professional Men has blessed, me and my family to the point where my wife is actually looking to retire soon. Just from, the resources and the opportunities that we've been blessed with. And, hustle is sold separately. So I will say, the organization did not make a donut for it. The organization did not pick up any dough, didn't deliver any dough, but, the opportunities of mentorship, the fact that she was able to go sit down with Terrence from Terra Cafe, and he was able to show her, hey, this is how you go find good quality used equipment. The fact that, she was able to go talk to Devco and gaining experience of how to deal with wholesale customers. Those kind of experiences helped her, because right now we have Guinness as a wholesale customer, and Guinness is not our first wholesale customer, so we didn't have to have that learning curve. So because of Black professional men and because of our network, she was able to learn on our dime. So now that she's go out and do it for herself, she's well prepared. So
phenomenal. If I could just add to your quote that I got from Dr. Willie Jolly, he said the setback. He says your setback is a setup for the biggest comeback.
There it is.
I like that. I like both, but I think when you say the setback is a setup for the biggest comeback, it puts it in perspective for everyone to understand.
Yeah. So I think I would like, if everybody could indulge me, I would like to close out this meeting a little bit different. I would like everybody to share what they're setting up for their comeback for 2021. Who would like to start?
I'll start. So I had to close my physical business. So I had to close the gym. And now with just all these different resources and everything, I'm planning to open multiple locations. So going from 1 down to 0, and I'm going to multiply, that 1 to multiple locations.
So, hey, can I share a little bit about
Mm-hmm.
you?
Yeah, sure.
So, me and Cornell, we go back, right? And I remember when Cornell was a sidekick, and just of what he learned and the strength it took for him to go out on his own. And now he's about to have multiple locations. And I mean, that wasn't that long ago.
Right.
So, I mean, I definitely see the growth. And again, BPM didn't give anybody exercise advice. We didn't clean up, sweep any floors, but we are here to celebrate him as he is going through this journey. So I applaud that. I applaud that.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Sound effects on deck.
All right, I got it. This is Carl Hunt from the Black Trivia Network. Hassan and I go back. Remember when I went to him when I first started my company and I'm glad he didn't invest because I wasn't ready then. And now I'm working on my trademark. I'm franchising my games to different nonprofits who are purchasing it. I've already got the game, so now I'm adding their logo so that they can sell it as fundraisers. And also I finally got getting my press kit together, so everything is starting to come together right now. This past Black History Month, I hosted virtually for companies in San Francisco, New York, New Rochelle, Manhattan, Atlanta, and a couple of churches in this area. So this is going to be my comeback year.
For some of the people who are listening, the process is the process.
Mute call. Mute.
The process is the process. The process is not my process, is not your process, it's the process. And those who follow it, they're able to get the results. And so if you notice what Carl said, he's mixing what his business is he's mixing his business with partnerships and helping others accomplish their goals. The formula is the formula. The process is the process. You know, the more you help people reach their goal, your success multiplies. So thank you, Carl, for that. Who's next?
Everett.
I was gonna say.
I apologize. Ladies first.
Thank you. So before I gotta hop off of here, thank you again, everyone. And I'm just inspired by that about setbacks, because 2020 was definitely experienced some great things, but we were also set back. We lost a few clients that had to close their businesses down because they were considered non-essential. So this year, part of our comeback for 2021, especially with Career Image Solutions, we are have a great opportunity to teach other HR professionals how to start their own HR companies. So that's been pretty cool. And being in this virtual environment, we are also teaching entrepreneurs, first-time business owners that are hiring for the first time, teaching them how to hire correctly and out of compliance. So now that we're in the virtual space, we're building courses to support them. So they might not be ready to hire us or hire HR consultants to help them on an ongoing basis. So we're putting together virtual programs for them. Thank you again.
Nice. Hopefully everybody's catching the theme of collaboration.
If I could just chime in, can you all hear me? This is Reginald.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. First of all, great evening, men. Hennifer, it's a pleasure to be married to you. You did a fantastic job. You know, I just wanted to see that smile. Thank you for that. But men, the thing that my wife just left out, which is really critical, which I wanted to sit top of mind for all of you, is that there's a big push right now with the Black Lives Matter movement and diversity, equity, and inclusion training. One of the things that my wife has been specializing in right now in this particular season is actually offering diversity, equity, and inclusion training to those in leadership positions. So whether they're the CFOs, the VPs of HR, the C-suite professionals, or even frontline management, my wife actually has a specialty in offering DEI training to those types of individuals, whether they have small companies, whether they have Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 organizations, it doesn't matter. So let that be top of mind. And if there's any collaboration, if there's any referral or anything of that nature, where a business owner who could benefit from having that kind of training, because everybody wants to make sure that they're a part of this movement, this wave right now while it's happening, please keep Career Image Solutions and my wife Hennifer in mind.
Kendrick, do you think we can talk to William Heidelberg about doing a joint webinar with the Greater Baltimore Chamber on that topic?
I think so. He's talking about the Baltimore City Chamber.
Right. And so the Baltimore City Chamber, and then the greater
Baltimore Black Chamber.
And then hosted by a BPM Black power couple, the Gants. I'll set it up. I love it how that works. Everett.
Yes, sir. Tough year personally for myself, but I tell you, God is always got something big for you in the future. and I'm going to be launching my car and auto insurance quote system collaboration. And that's going to be one of my biggest things this year, because everyone has to have it. That's my time.
How about that? How about that? Absolutely. Shadida, you
I'll go next. Let's say setback. So with COVID, it gave me more time to think than probably any other time in the past 5 years, where I really got to sit back and think about what's going on with life and where I'm going. So what I noticed is that I was operating a talent-based business, and I need to step out of that and gain some clarity and elite levels of delivery, where we talk about the Chick-fil-A's, the Nordstroms, and those types of businesses, and that's where I wanted to go. So the comeback is by sharpening my focus and going all in on content licensing, which is something that I've done on a personal and business level since 2008, and offering that as a service. What it allowed me to do was attract the best of the best, because now I can take their ideas and fully develop them, and their influence combined with that structure, that training, allows them to go to new heights. And focusing on the customer service aspects really has taken off for me, where people are redeveloped or rediscovering what I bring to the table. And even if they've known me for 10, 15 years in business. So it's kind of a reawakening point for me. And with the key focus on strategic partnerships to do it, I'm no longer relying on my talent, but providing value and solutions for my partners, which allows me to reach their audiences and take this idea to the moon, because I'm not doing it based on my own effort.
nice, nice, nice. You know, it is funny. You're a very personable person, and people meet you and they see you and you're a normal guy. But I don't think people really understand the depth of a resource that you are. I mean, I see you as like Kendrick, where, you know, I'm a fan and a friend. And so if you haven't researched Shadi, he's very humble. Google him, and he's right here. So a lot of the things y'all want to do, he needs to be part of that. All right. So who would like to go next? Leroy, maybe.
Well, yeah, I think I'm the last one, so but I'll go. But I mean, just like everybody else talked about, with 2020 being a setback, in terms of, for me, actually it was a good thing, but I mean, not a good thing, but also it turned out to be a good thing, but a bad thing in a kind of way too, on the book side. Releasing, publishing books, but not being able to do in-person events for clients that I had and everything like that. So that aspect of it was kind of the setback. But one of the things that I already kind of had been doing was the virtual realm, but was getting people up to speed on how to effectively use the virtual space that we're in now, whether it's the entrepreneurs that are coming up and that I work with, but then also with authors as well, and understanding that shift that needed to be made, and then me doing that shift as well too. Now, the comeback, of course, with this year has been my two major things. One has been my push to do partnerships with other businesses, and being able to use those to be able to grow not just my brand, but actually work in conjunction with them to grow their brand as well. And then also increasing the products and services that I offer as well, to expand what I do, so that I'm able to utilize that as an additional stream of income, in addition to the products that I may already have, the speaking that I do virtually right now too. So that's kind of what what my goal is for 2021. And it's been, and we said it earlier, but it's about leaving the familiar. It's leaving what we're comfortable doing and becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable, where we see those and do those things that we're not comfortable with doing. But by doing that, we elevate our influence, elevating my influence as as JNF, but then also influencing others with the brand that I have, and then those that I'm connected to and that I'm partnered with or collaborating with, so that we're able to influence greater together and individually as well too.
Right. So Leroy is somebody you also want to research. There's a common theme here. There's a lot of humble men here. And there's a lot that they're doing. They may not share it. They're not going to toot their own horn. So I'm going to do it for them. Again, Leroy is somebody who I have admired from afar for many, many years before he actually joined the organization. And I can definitely see the huge benefit that the organization has received from just being around him. And so if you haven't noticed, before everything happened, you would see Leroy speaking all over the country. Now he's speaking all over the country virtually, but there's a lot of people who have businesses that want to expand their market. He's a resource because he's doing it. So have lunch with the man, have a virtual coffee, whatever you want to do now, but he's a great resource. Just like so many other members we have. So I think we got one more guy. Is it Darnell? Am I saying that right?
Okay, yeah.
Am I saying the name right?
I know I said the same thing. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's right. You're right. I don't know if I'm really a good part of this conversation, because I didn't really have a setback in 2020. 2020 was a year where I created my LLC, and I was able to actually sit down and have time to create something that I think would help the residents of Baltimore once when I get it totally in play. So there was a conversation that was had with me and God when I was in corporate life working for Oracle. I said, I said, God, what I want to do in life. The passion I have for Baltimore and residents, and the passion I have for helping somebody and seeing somebody be able to go another way to survive or to make things better for their life. And he opened up a way for me to get exposed to the grassroots nonprofit side of Baltimore that I had no idea of what was going on. And that work was birthed my participation in the Baltimore Ceasefire 365 movement, where I was able to be in direct contact with the residents of Baltimore in this peace movement. And during 2020, my interactions with the residents of Baltimore, seeing that Baltimore is resource deficient when it comes to people not knowing where the resources are, and also not knowing how to get to those resources, sparked me to say, hey, there is a way that I can bring those resources that people seek to them in a very easy way when I interact with them. So in 2020, I created my LLC to start to be able to develop a way where the resources that I've accumulated throughout my interactions with a lot of the grassroots organizations in the city, and a lot of the social services, and a lot of the entities that Baltimore has, try to bring that together in one spot. So when I am in front of residents and businesses and stuff like that, I have this bevy of information and resources that I can hand to them. So that's what 2020 opened up for me.
Absolutely. That sounds exciting. It sounds exciting. So I definitely want to thank everybody for their time tonight. And I do want to remind people that Black professional men, we've been here for 30 years. Okay. We've had over 500 members come through our doors. We have on roll about 150 members. Now, every member's experience is different. And that is because where we are now as an organization, we're able to meet the men where they are. Now, some men may need to use the organization to lean on. Some men may be in the organization to be leaned on. But we're all here. We're all here together. And as we are here together, we're going to grow together and impact our community together. And so with that, does anybody who wants to get more information about how to become a member, how to help us help you reach your goal, please visit the link in the chat. And we will be more than happy to sit down with you and help build. And with that, I would like to say good night to everyone.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. See y'all next month.